of energy transition and climate response. So we need to have more communications among people, and we need to make change in the market and in policy. So I think energy transition and climate response. So we need to have more this or communications among people, and we need to make change in the market and in policy. So I think energy transition and climate response. So we need to have more this or communications among people.
Oh, thank you, Professor Yun. It's a very encouraging and also very very common and similar situation with Japan. Later, we'd like to discuss with you. And also, then the following from Taiwan, Professor Taze Alan Lin, the Taiwan vice professor, and also he is working for the government, and also he is one of the board of the Taipower, so he has a very deep insight of the Taiwan energy transition. So welcome to the Professor Lin. Also, he is one of the board of the Taipower, so he has a deep insight.
Good morning. Thank you for the invitation to join the global conference for a nuclear-free renewable energy future. 10 years since Fukushima. It's been 10 years since one of the biggest earthquakes ever recorded hit the Fukushima region. Good morning. Thank you for the invitation to join killing about 20,000 people for a nuclear-free renewable energy meltdown of the nuclear reactor since the Daiichi nuclear power plant. It's been, as we know, after the Fukushima accident on March 11, 2011, the 12-mile exclusion no-go on inhabited zone has been set. In addition, about 70,000 nuclear refugees are still scattered around Tohoku in temporary housing communities. According to the Greenpeace lesson from Fukushima report, the Fukushima accident was a failure of human institutions to acknowledge real reactor risk, a failure to establish and enforce appropriate nuclear safety standards, and a failure to ultimately protect the public and the environment. The ongoing Fukushima nuclear accident apparently triggered the nuclear phase-out around the world. For example, Germany's nuclear phase-out will be complete by the end of 2020. In contrast, the country's renewable energy already accounted for 46% of power consumption in 2020. On the other hand, the Fukushima accident significantly accelerated the global energy transition in most parts of the world. According to the International Energy Agency, IEA, overall, renewable energies are set to account for 95% of the net increase in global power capacity through 2025. Total installed wind and solar PV capacity is on course to surpass natural gas in 2023 and coal in 2024. This is indeed a tremendous progress for renewable energy development, particularly in time of global COVID-19 pandemic. In East Asia countries, particularly in Taiwan, the anti-nuclear advocates have gained traction after Fukushima accident. In 2016, when the President Tsai Ing-wen was elected as the president, she announced an ambitious energy transition plan. The plan intends to phase out nuclear power by 2025, while at the same time to increase the share of renewable to 20% of power consumption, to reduce coal to 30%, and raise the natural gas to 50% as a transition energy. To achieve the energy transition goal, several regulatory and policy frameworks have since then been amended. For example, in 2017, the Electricity Act was amended to open renewable energy market and also enable consumers to freely choose power providers. Also, starting year 2017, a public engagement process has been initiated to help draft the energy transition white paper. Currently, Taiwan has 4 operated nuclear power reactors, which account for about 10% of electricity generation. 2 reactors have been decommissioned. 2 ABWL reactors in number 4 power plant were not completed yet for 30 years. One is about 90% completed, and the other one about 60% completed. However, the total construction cost is already surpassed 130 billion US dollars. Due to the public unacceptance, there is still no permanent low-level and high-level nuclear waste disposal sites in Taiwan. While the strong political will and the support policy in place, the deployment of renewable energy in Taiwan has increased significantly over the past 4 years. The installed capacity of solar PV has reached close to 6 gigawatts, which is about 5.5 times comparing to the previous administration. In 2019, Taiwan has set up the first commercial offshore wind farm with the capacity of 128 megawatts. It is expected to reach 1 gigawatt offshore wind capacity by the end of this year, and 5.6 gigawatt by the end of 2025. There will be at least another 10 gigawatt planned before 2025. In addition, there are various sources of renewable energy have been explored, including geothermal, biomass, small hydro, and ocean energy. Recently, in response to the rising land use conflict with solar PV deployment, the government established a mechanism which is called Environment and Social Checklist to address our concerns. Clearly, Taiwan accelerated the energy transition process toward renewable energy future in the past 4 years. Recently, the government also set up a task force assessing its pathway toward net zero carbon emission to join the global efforts in combating climate change. In this 10-year memorable moment of Fukushima accident, it shows clear that the trend toward renewable energy is irreversible. Just like the Nobel laureate Dr. Li Yuanze has pointed out, we don't need to create nuclear fission on Earth. The best source of nuclear fission, which is solar energy, is already there. Our main task is to explore the full potential of solar energy. Finally, I'm absolutely convinced that we can do this in a way that makes the whole world cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable, with more just and a greater opportunity for the present and the future generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lin. It's a great the presentations, and also the Taiwan is already rushing renewable the societies. We are very much happy to know. Then finally, the Professor Sasaki from the Niigata International Information University, and also he is leading community power in Niigata, and also he is fighting against the nuclear power restart of the TEPCO. So he's kind of very activating the energy democracy in Niigata and also Japan. Professor Sasaki Sensei, please.
First of all, thank you for invitation. I'm very honored to join all of you. Okay, I will use the PowerPoint today. So this one. Can you see this? Okay. Okay. Can you do this? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Today I would like to talk about the case of local government in Japan, which has hosted the largest nuclear power plant in the world. My hometown, Niigata, has Kashiwazaki Kariwa Nuclear Power Station. Has 7 reactors and over 8 million kilowatts in terms of output, and the largest nuclear power station in the world. And it is a little bit old. Number 1 reactor is 36 years old, and number 7 is 24 years old. And as you know, the TEPCO and the METI want to restart as soon as possible because of the compensation for Fukushima damage. And as Yun-san said, maintain the nuclear interest village. And Niigata has received so many evacuees since March 11. Nearly 160,000 people were forced to be displaced from Fukushima, and over 9,000 people evacuated from Fukushima to Niigata in 2011, according to Niigata Prefecture offices. So the March 11 was never be someone else's business for the Niigata people. And a turning point was the governor election in 2060s. They say Niigata shock. The biggest election issue was the yes or no to restart the Kariwa Kashiwazaki nuclear power station. And Ryuichi Yoneyama, you can see this picture, won the election. It was the first case the oppositional side, anti-nuclear side, could make a new local governor. And in effect, this election means referendum on the propriety of restarting a nuclear power station. And contrary to the expectations, he won the election by the popularity of over 60,000 votes. It means the central government realized a strong public feeling against the nuclear power station. And more importantly, at his public commitment, the Committee for Inspection of Nuclear Power Station, Genpatsu Kensho Inkai, was established. And next, incumbent governor, Hanazumi, also observed he have to respect. And this is the Committee for Inspection of Nuclear Power Station. This is a structure. There are 3 issues committee. And the technique committee now for the inspection for Fukushima accident causes. And the second, Life and Health Committee is now starting for life and health conditions of evacuees. And third, Evacuation Committee is now searching for effective evacuating planning. So, and in addition to that, the Summarization Committee is now integrating these discussions and would make a final report. So we can make now a very comprehensive and sustainable, substantial discussion. So I think it's a rare case for the Japanese history because such an committee is run by the local government budget on, and I think it's a kind of the energy democracy and deliberative discussions. It's a very rare case, I think. So, but and we also have evacuation drills, and experience from this would feedback to the inspection process. But since the last year fall, backlash by the government started. The Agency for Natural Resources and Energy visited Niigata many times, 80 times a year, and September 15 times and October 11 times. And governor of Miyagi Prefecture agreed with restart Onagawa nuclear power plant. Onagawa nuclear power plant, as you may know, run by Tohoku Electric Power Company. So without any resident agreement, without any referendum. And in addition to that, the Tokyo Chamber of Commerce and Industry visited Kashiwazaki Kariwa, and he claimed that the early starting is needed. And that the same day, in the local Congress, the LDP required the dismissal of chairman of Summarize Committee, Yuzuru Ikeuchi. Professor Yuzuru Ikeuchi had asserted that he would state his opinion as a reference about validity of restarting nuclear power plant in the final report. And he wanted to hold some kind of a town meeting to hear the resident voices. LDP strongly reacted against such a kind of a policy of operation. So that, and in addition to that, Niigata Prefecture government tried to put an end to an inspection process, unfortunately. And this year, Niigata Prefecture office refused the appointment of members who had critical views against nuclear power plants. So such a things happen, backlash. But on the other hand, in these days, the distrust of eligibility of TEPCO come to the surface, and they are now forced to recede from restarting. As you can see, the misuse of ID card, the TEPCO ID card of the central control rooms. So this has happened at cover up. But the same month, Nuclear Regulatory Commission approved the eligibility of TEPCO. And this year, number 3, discovered the ID misuse. So after that, discovered unfinished installations by the TEPCO. So such a things, mess things happen. So even the conservative actors strong criticism against TEPCO. But recently, they forced to recede from restarting the nuclear power. So, in conclusion, 10 years have passed since March 11. What has changed? Nothing changed. So former Prime Minister Abe, under control, he said, he declared, and because of the Olympics, but exploration works inside the nuclear plant failed reactors has barely begun. and the contaminated water is continuing to flow into the Pacific Ocean from the fifth number one plant at the rate of around 2 billion becquerels a day. And the number of evacuees still about 41,000. And you may know the fifth basic outdated energy plan to 2080 now is the Japanese plan. Nuclear will remain a key energy source, base load power resource, accounting for 20 to 22% of the country's electricity generation up to 2030. That means we will have to restart all of the existing nuclear power plants, even over 40 years old, if we will not be able to construct new plants. The estimation of renewable energy is extremely conservative. And in addition, for the local peoples, atomic economical effect is just a myth of a Niigata, myth for the local people. This book said, the myth has been formed in the historical process in which Niigata and Fukushima prefectures have been forced to be just energy supplying region since the Meiji period. So Japan itself has come to grief. Japan loses sight of a new innovational age. So as the Ida-san said, so we need a new type of a society, I think, towards the post-nuclear, post-nuclear power station type of society. From the central and the divided local community colonial society to the decentralized network society, and based on the self-governance and the subsidiarity. So, as the Ida-san says, that we have already over the 250 community powers, and Niigata has also Urate Niigata community power. We have now 40 stations in running for the local production for the local consumption and ownership. So time is run out. So lastly, from the local, we can transcend the borders and create a new region, East Asia Renewable Energy Community. Unfortunately, last year, because of the pandemic, we had to cancel the unprecedented conference in Niigata, but we never give up. Thank you for listening. That's all.
Thank you, Sasaki Sensei. And it's very the reality of the Japanese the local situations, both community power, but still fighting against the nuclear kind of community or mafias, so to speak. So now the last 11 minutes we can discuss to with the colleagues to. So we all these East Asian three countries are very the similar, like both three country regions are based on the technology and the industry's basis, and also it's a relatively I'm not sure in Japan, but relatively democratized country, and but a bit behind of the energy shift to renewables. Now Taiwan is a bit rushing, and Korean is rushing, but still a bit behind. So and we are facing a bit similar, still monopoly or in de facto monopoly electricity, the market, and also at the same time the public, against some people are against the renewable energy promotions, and also fake news from the nuclear interest groups as well. So we are now how to cope those barriers to how to achieve the energy the shift to a renewable-based and also opens and democratized society and collaborating with the East Asian Renewable Energy Network. So then the first, the Professor Yun Sensei Sundin to please comment on that.
Actually, I thought I give some presentation about my experience or my thought about 311 nuclear power accident. So I did not prepare some slides, so I regret. But anyway, I think in Korea, electricity price is very important. Because of low electricity price, independent power producers based on renewable energy, they cannot make profit. So it is very difficult to maybe expand their power in the power market. And as I mentioned in my presentation, KEPCO's monopolized system is very strong. It is another barrier. And actually, you know, among three countries, three societies, Korea has the biggest number of nuclear power under operation. Nowadays, 24 reactors. But still, there were two reactors, Shinhanul 3 and Shinhanul 4. It was planned to be built, but this Moon government canceled the plan. But still, pro-nuclear activists or nuclear engineers, professors, and local residents, they want to build the reactors because in the near time, they think some kind of economic gain from the construction of additional nuclear power reactors. So, you know, still, and, you know, have you heard about the tritium issue in Korea? Because, you know, in Wolsong reactor, we found tritium has maybe liquid from nuclear reactors. Still, we have many problems in safe operation of nuclear reactors. Still, our nuclear safety committee did not control properly the safe operation of nuclear power. So we have many issues until now, not just, you know, Korea's share of renewable energy in electricity sector is the lowest among OECD countries. Even though this government announced energy transition as a national task, but still we have many barriers. And people think nuclear power support cheap electricity price. So we should not, we should operate nuclear reactors to keep electricity price lower and lower. So and people think our nuclear technology is number one in the world because of fake news. So there are many challenges we need to overcome. So I think some kind of safe operation of nuclear reactors and to make two successful energy transition, what kind of barriers we are faced and what kind of strategy maybe that gained some success in communities and policy area, we need to learn from each other. That is my comment.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a relatively similar situation in Korea and Japan, and because we both have nuclear industry inside, so it's a very politically influenced on the central government and also the local government. Then, Professor Lin, Taiwan is more closer to nuclear phase out and also renewable promotion, but still you are more facing some kind of barriers. So please comment. Oh, you are muted.
Yeah, good to join the discussion. Thank you for the sharing of the experience from Korea, Japan, and also I think we face very similar challenge here. And according to the just a poll just published yesterday by Business Today, they say the about 66% people support the idea using renewable energy to replace nuclear power. So this is, I think, and also supports us, the government, the policy toward energy transition. And also in the situation, if there's no electricity shortage, then they are supporting, we can develop more renewable energy and phase out nuclear power. So I think this is also the good sign, even though I think we also, there was some barrier and challenge when we deployment the renewable energy, because it's just like there's a presentation mentioned, there's some conflict about the solar PV and even also the offshore wind. There's some conflict with the local resident or fishermen. So we set up a kind of mechanism we call the environment and the social checklist to before we any application for this renewable development, we can have a checkup. It's kind of a simplified form of EIA process, because so we not just look at the environmental concern, also the social concern, because now we all know that the just transition is also a very important factors. And also about the chairman mentioned about the electricity market. In this year, we are also trying to open some markets. So in the Taipower, to introduce some in the demand response, also aggregator and all this kind of mechanism to reduce the demand side management. So there were some many more player and stakeholder to join the electricity market reform, but it still take time. This also Taipower just start to engage more stakeholder during that the demand response and some other mechanism. I think they have been applied in many countries many years ago. Now, so the reform is not fast enough, but still many challenges. But we believe we are toward that direction. And also we are introducing the smart grid, the plan, and also introduce the energy storage, trying to play some role for the scale up of renewable energy development.
Okay, thank you, Professor Lin.
But there's can I add one more? There's one challenge here will be about August. We are going to another pro-nuclear referendum. So this is an awkward situation here. So I think probably we also face this similar situation. We have a energy transition, also a democratic transformation. So I think this is the process we should face, because always there's a different idea within society among even this good sustainable goal. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Professor Lin.
Yeah.
Last 1 minute, the Sasaki-sensei. Very
okay,
brief
1 minute,
comment.
no time.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Let me comment shortly in a little bit different perspective. So we are talking about economic and political obstacles in order to realize the renewable energy, but the same situation have in Japan. We call the atomic village, as you know. But I want to mention about the image, the hope in the future. We need education and we need new image as hope. So that is the East Asian Renewable Energy Network. So as you may know, the predecessor of EU, European Union, was the European Coal and Steel Community. That is the energy community. So, the EU is not only for the, cooperation among the states, but also the peace, So I hope the East Asian Renewable Energy Community will be helpful for the peace in East Asia. That's the kind of image, new image. So, sorry, the time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, we are lucky to next session will start in 15 minutes. So we are very allowance to expand. So but very thank you for joining these sessions. Actually the technology is universal. So renewables are getting more cheaper and cheaper and more developed, especially the solar and wind and also the battery. So also economy is more digital. The more cheaper, getting cheaper and cheaper renewable cost, and also more like self-independent of the both. Though all we three countries are more fossil energy poor country, but renewable rich country we can. So more and more renewable independence is more economy. Can be independent. So the economy, digital and technology universals. And finally, the people's willingness are more decisive to our futures. And also beyond the borders, we, as Sasaki-sensei says, maybe we could make up based on the renewable energy collaborations, the more peaceful and open society. Currently, Japan only a relatively conservative or far right politics. So we need more open, collaborative the politics. It's not the top down. This is also the bottom up, the collaborations with energy and peoples, and so to keep talking and keep collaborating each other. And so maybe next round we'd like to have this East Asians dialogue coming physically, hopefully, in Niigata next time.
Niigata, of course.
Okay. Thank you for joining this Memorial Days, and so keep collaborating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We should make a success.
Yeah. We must.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good morning.